Hey everybody, what is up? Pop Daddy here, and I am coming to you from the Pop office. Now, when I started this, I don't know if you remember my video from long, long ago, back in the early days. In fact, it was my first video. I said that along the things I would be reviewing would be Disney stuff, like attractions and stuff like that. Now, as maybe some of you may have known, that the Disney parks will be replacing the popular ride Splash Mountain with a ride called Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is set to open last year. Now, the day before the filming of this video, Splash Mountain at Walt Disney World in the Magic Kingdom closed its doors forever, and they will reopen next year with the new theming of the ride. I don't know how much the ride is going to change. If anything, I would assume that it would have the same layout and the same drops and things like that, but it is set to open later next year as the new ride. So I just thought I'd come here and share a bit of memories with you guys because I'm a big Disney park fan, and tell you how it was for me. Now, the ride itself was based off of the 1946 movie Song of the South. And in the early 80s at Disneyland, there was a ride known as America Sings. And on this ride, you would like be in a moving theater, and each section would have like different songs and stuff like that by animals singing. And if you have ever ridden Carousel of Progress, it was in the old Carousel Theater that rotated around. After this attraction closed down, they needed something to do with all the animals, all the animatronic animals. So they got all them, just whipped up an idea for, hey, remember that movie Song of the South from the 40s with all the animals? Let's do that as a ride. So they made it, rehomed the audio animatronics, and themed it as a log flume ride, and there you go. So this opened in summer of 1989. Now, my first trip wasn't until a few years later, but I saw this on the Disney Channel. They had a Ernest Ride Splash Mountain, and I saw that, and I saw the animals, and I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. I can't wait to ride that when I go. And so a few years later, we went to Disney World, and much to my sadness, the ride wasn't there, and I had no idea where it was. And we rode the train, and the announcer on the train said that Splash Mountain would be coming next year. And I was like, that's weird. Ernest rode it a couple years ago. Why isn't it here now? So we went back a couple years later, and what we did was, the way it used to be when we went with my parents, when we would arrive in Florida, that night we would go to dinner at 1900 Park Fair at the Grand Floridian Resort. And we had tickets for that day, so we were thinking, it's late, we're just going to go in, we'll ride the train around the kingdom once, then we'll get out. So we ride the train, and then we go through one tunnel, which is near Pirates of the Caribbean, and then we go through another tunnel, and this tunnel has windows inside of it, looking down into something. And I can remember looking over and seeing a riverboat with a pig playing piano and birds like dancing on top of it, and I didn't know what that was, and we're like, what's that? What's that? And we heard it say, like, we're now open to Splash Mountain and Frontierland. And we were just going to ride the train, do Carousel of Progress, which was a favorite of mine, and then leave. We had to beg my parents to stay late in the park so we could ride that ride. And remember, now the ride has a very steep fall at the end. And you get in your log, and as soon as you get in, you start going up a hill, and you're thinking, oh, this is it. They do it this early in the ride, and you go up and you just like land on just some water. There's no hill. You just go up the hill. There's no slope. And depending on how front heavy your car was, water may have gotten into it, and that could ruin your ride and your day. And you go around, and as you're going around, the other cars are going down the hill. And if you're not lucky, you may get some of that water on you also. So you go up another hill around some of the like houses of the littler animals. Then you go down a slope. This is the first slope you go down. And all of a sudden you're in like, the Brer Rabbit's town. Like Brer Rabbit says he's leaving. And there's all these animals like talking like, oh, Brer Rabbit's leaving. Brer Rabbit's leaving. Brer Rabbit's leaving. And Brer Fox and Brer Bear oversee this. and they're planning on trapping Brer Rabbit and eating him. So you go there, and then Brer Rabbit says he's going to his laughing place, and which he does, which is a area in caves that have a bunch of beehives. And while he's there, Brer Fox captures him with a beehive and is getting ready to cook him. And then it's hinted that he's thrown into the briar patch, which is a thorny patch, and you're thrown off, and you go through. And it's the big slope, and it turns out that Brer Rabbit, it was like small enough to, like, go through the branches of the briar patch, and Brer Fox and Brer Bear were not. As you can see, after you go back into the mountain, you can see, like, everyone's celebrating that Brer Rabbit's come home. Like, everyone's happy, everyone's singing Zippity Doo Dah, and then, like, you go around and the ride's over. And oh no, it's about 10 minutes, maybe 15, and lines for this ride were like 1 hour, hour and a half on the daily. On hot days, it could be up to 3 hours. It was crazy. We never really rode the ride in the middle of the day unless we had fast passes for it. This was, me and my brother were in love right away. At least I think he was. And I loved the ride. And whenever I was in the park, I would ride. As a kid, you didn't care about getting wet. You loved getting wet, especially on hot days. When you're an adult and you have shoes and you don't like being uncomfortable, that's a different story. So every time we would go, we would ride it. We would have fun. And then as I got older and older, I would ride it less. Where it used to be as many times as we could per trip, it would be, hey, there's no line, let's go on it, let's check it out, and so on. And when me and Pop Mama first went down years ago, I got fast passes for the ride. And it's not until we get in the log and they put the things down, she says, "This isn't a log flume, is it?" And I said, "Why?" And she was like, "Because I don't like log flumes." Oops. Once again, we didn't ride it that much. But when we went back after I proposed to her, we did pictures that said she said yes on Splash Mountain. And when it was, if I can find the picture, I'll put it up here. We went in the middle of February one time. It was so cold, but I was like, I gotta ride it myself. I gotta get a picture of me riding it by myself because the cars were going down empty. And that happened. That was so cool. And I went on a few times during my last trip, which was a week or two before I posted my first video. And I love the ride. I loved it a lot. I'm going to miss it. Hey everyone, just real quick, I forgot to add that a few years back, me and Pop Mama went out to California to Disneyland, and we rode the original Splash Mountain. And let me tell you, compared to the Disney World one, Splash Mountain in Disneyland had a lot to live up to. And it was, let's just say World had a leg up on land. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see where we go from here. I'm excited to see what happens next. And, I'm looking forward to the retheme. I can't wait to take Pop Baby on it when she's old enough. And all I can say is, Brer Rabbit, thank you for the laughing place. Love you guys all. Peace. Hey everyone, just a reminder, if you liked that video, if you liked what I said, and this is your first time here from searching about Splash Mountain, be sure to click like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And be sure to check out my other videos. Also check out my Twitter at ThePopDaddy and my Facebook at facebook.com/ThePopDaddy. I love you all. I can't wait to see you in the next video. I will talk to you soon. Peace.